In this video, I'm going to share what I've learnt in producing a page that has a filter, has a drop-down list which is generated by looking at a field in a table, and then when you select that filter and search, it will filter your results. In this example, we have a students table. And each student has one tutor, and one tutor has many students. So the drop-down list finds looks at the tutors table and finds unique tutor examples, and then we'll filter the student list based on the tutor you've chosen. Okay, let's make a start on that one. Okay, so I'm going to create. Generate a controller called students. I just needed to restart this lesson because I forgot the rule that models are singular, controllers are plural. So students, and inside students I am going to need an index page, a new page, and a show page, I think. So they're all generated here. I'm going to use Atom for my text editor. Here we are. So apps, view, students now has my pages in it. Okay, Rails4 model, make a model for student. Remember, models are singular. And I'm going to have some simple fields in here. I'm looking at my other screen to remind myself what I did on the other one. Okay, so I need a first name, which is a string, so just default, a surname, which is string, a tutor ID, which is an integer, it's the foreign key for the tutor table. And I'll leave it at that for the time being. There they are. And then I am going to Rails generate a model called tutor, and it's just going to have, for the time being, name, as the tutor's going to have a name. Okay, there we go. I am going to have a peek inside DB, migrate, and I'll put in a default here. I am going to default, and by default I'm going to say it's going to be 1 is the default tutor ID, and in the tutor, I'll just leave that as is actually. Okay, make sure I save this. Then I'll go back to the terminal and rake db migrate to stuff the migrate into the database. Fingers crossed. Yahoo, it works. Let's just check the schema. Yay, default is there. Okay, let's put in some test data. So I'll just create a new tab and I'll go into the Rails console to make my tables. So create student, first name is, I'm just going to use my daughter's names, and surname. And tutor ID should be blank, defaults. Oops, I got that wrong. What is the syntax? Student create first name surname. Hold on a second. sorry. Student.create. There we go. So there's the first one. Student.create first name James, surname Bond. Just get a third one. Students.create first name Jack, surname Jeff. I probably spelled that wrong. Okay, so we've got our 3 records in there, and hold on. I haven't turned the site on. That's a previous go at this. So let's create. Let's run the server. Rails4, and default Rails page is ready. So let's edit the roots page and change the root to the students page. Let's see if that works. Okay, so let's change it. Now let's just check that that's the page we're expecting. Yeah, that's the page we've got inside apps, view, students, index HTML, ERB is the page that we're editing. Okay, so we have data in the database and we have an index page. Let's go and spit the data out. We're going to do that with a loop. So we need to open up the controller, students controller, and in here we are going to define students equals student or. So run that database, find all the data and put it into this instance variable, I think. In here we can now reference students, just create students, and each do the Ruby loop. And I'll put it in a bullet pointed list. Child first name. And I'll just do one field to check it's working, remembering to close the loop. Hooray, it's working there. So we'll just great. Okay, in here we're going to create a second tutor. So we're going to say tutor.create, and we've got one field name. It's going to be me. Okay, and then create another tutor. It's going to be my partner. Okay, so we now have, we now have 2 tutors, and by default they're going to be saying 1, but we haven't defined a relationship between the 2 tables, so we can't access the name of the tutor yet. We can't say, we can say tutor ID. There it is. And in fact, if we go student, let's say C equals student last. So we've made C to be the last Jack Reacher, and then C dot tutor ID equals 2. And got to remember to save C. And now, there we go, Jack Reacher is now tutor 2, but we want that to say Mr. Basu and Miss Butler. So we're going to have to affect the models. So here we go in the models, the student model. So it's one-to-many. One student belongs to, isn't it? Belongs to. I'm just going to reach across to remind myself. Belongs to tutor, and Rails cleverly picks out the tutor ID from there. Belongs to tutor, and the tutor, one tutor has many students. And cleverly, Rails wants it pluralized because that's it does want many students. The model was called student. Okay. Now we should be able to change this to use a relationship to find the tutor's name. Kapow. Right. Right. So there we go. We've got that tutor information in there. We are now going to add in the filter. Now another bit of Rails magic. We are going to put it above the loop of students, and we're going to use the collection select tool, and I'm going to ask it to look in the student table, tutor ID, tutor ID. Now I can't remember, don't understand exactly the rules behind these different elements, and if you look at my posts on Stack Overflow, you can see how I got some help. Okay, put an end in here. Fingers crossed. Down the flames. No, I don't need the end. Okay, not yet. Right. Collection select. Collection. Oops. We want to post the tutor name. So now this is cleverly selecting from the tutors. And just to demonstrate that, tutor.create name Mr. Black. Oops. And now Mr. Black appears as a possible tutor. Alright, there's no submit button and there's no filter yet. It haven't told this, but it's already been super clever by selecting out the related data. Let's make it clever. Okay, so I am going to turn this collection select into a part of a form. So I'm going to insert the form tag and use students path method get do oops. So do that, and I better whack in a submit button. And just so that we can see what's happening, I am going to throw, hold on, I should just save this and then, oops. I'm gonna change the controller, I'm sorry, the roots. I'm just gonna put in a resources students. Oops, I'm just going to put a, what's the syntax for resources? Resources, come on, students. And we can see up here, we've got some parameters going on. I found it useful while I was doing this to use the params inspect feature to help me see what's going on, to see what is being thrown out. So student tutor ID. Okay, so you see it's not filtering at the moment. So we need to, at the moment, students is everything, isn't it? Students is all. So we need to change this so it will accept the filter criteria. So here we go, and I found this after a lot of struggle. If the params if any params at all are sent, and if those params are student tutor ID, then students equals student search the params that were sent. And we're looking, and that's going to be the tutor ID. Otherwise, just show everything. Now, previously I didn't have this param student bit, which it worked, but if I was, when I first reached the page, there were no parameters, it would malfunction. So if you got the search, if you have any sort of search, then look for this, use the criteria to search. Otherwise, show everything. Oops. And I have to change the model because yeah, I'm creating this search thing, and it doesn't. Where is the search actually going to happen? Go over to the model, the student's model, and in here I am going to define the method for self-search. So define search where tutor ID like the search. Right, fingers crossed. Bah. Syntax unexpected. Oops, got rid of index there. If index, hopefully, param students, if I put the params in. Oops, Rails4, you need the params bit in the controller. So, oh, I don't need a new and show for this demonstration actually. Okay, define student params, and inside there, params, and I'm going to require the student table, and I'm going to permit, I want the first name, and I want the surname, and I'll need the tutor ID. Right, is this good now? Oh, fat fingers. If params. If params. Okay, so fingers crossed. All right, let's put in a. Let's change the database. So okay, let's student create first name bond surname villain. Apologies for spelling. That's all right. Okay. Oh, and x equals student dot last x dot tutor ID equals 3 x dot save, and then we go here and bond villain has, oh, that's good. Okay, Jack Reacher. Okay, and all right. Oh yes, yeah, it worked. Okay, so there we go. No criteria. Everyone selected. Mr. Basu's students, those two. Miss Butler's students, this one, and Mr. Black, this one. And let's just change that one. So X, the bond villain is back to me. So refresh that, empty. Let's run it. There we go. Bond villain is Basu. So Mr. Black has no one. Mr. Basu has those three people. Right. That took me ages to figure out. I hope this is helpful for you.